Hi, this is Michael McDermott. We're here today talking about 8 concepts that create change in relationships, Part 2. Now, concepts are clearly defined ideas or thoughts that are joined together with deliberate action to create a philosophy or plan that you can trust, refer to, and live by. I believe that concepts are so important in anything, and I take my concepts, I believe, in the Bible as the foundation, as the starting point, as the reference point to everything in my life. You can count on it, you can trust it, you can believe in it. It never changes. It's always applicable no matter where we go, what we do, what situation we find ourselves in. The Bible has clear and accurate and powerful concepts that can create change in relationships. My grandmother, McDaniel, raised 6 kids during the years following the Great Depression as a single mom. She was very resourceful and loving. Great woman. Very friendly, very kind, loved by many people, especially her family. But she was very strong through all those things that she went through. She had a strong resolve and determination to make it. And I really believe that's because she had a strong focus. She had a plan in place, and that plan was to love God, love her family, and have a great life. Her advice for moving ahead out of tough times, if you knew my grandma, she was fun, she was lighthearted, she liked to have a good time, but when it came down to serious issues, she was ready to get serious. And her advice for moving ahead out of tough times, you can't be looking forward with your head screwed on backwards. So concept 4, learn to live in the moment. If you live too far back in the past or too far ahead in the future, you'll wind up not living at all. You know, we can't replay yesterday or fast forward to the future or even go back to the future. One of my favorite movies, Back to the Future. But God has created now for us to live in and enjoy. James 4:14 says, "You do not know what your life will be like tomorrow." Sometimes we spend a lot of time and energy worrying about things that we have no control over, things that we can't change. So it's so important to live in the moment. I've heard so many people talk about the importance of living in the moment. When you have conversations with someone today, live in the moment. And when someone's talking to you, pay close attention to what they say. Isolate yourself from multitasking, from your thoughts moving ahead to the next thing that you have to do on your to-do list. And when someone talks to you, listen to what they're saying. Get yourself in the conversation, because you never know the importance of a conversation, of a word that you speak into the life of another person. It's so important to live in the moment. We can be so busy fretting about the past and worrying about the future that we fail to gather the good moments, the good things that are happening right now in our lives. So don't let those things escape you, but learn to live in the moment. Concept 5, recognizing and taking advantage of unrepeatable moments. As I record this, today is my youngest child, my youngest daughter's last day of high school. 23 years of raising children. I am so honored. I'm so blessed. I love my kids immensely. 23 years of watching kids go to school, graduate, and now my youngest is finished with high school today. So one thing I've learned from parenting is that it's so important to recognize and take advantage of unrepeatable moments. Those events that can't be repeated again and that you can't relive again. One thing is like being involved in raising your children. Now, there are a lot of good indicators or markers in recognizing unrepeatable moments. But one thing I'd like to share, one word of advice: the issues and people in our life that are usually the most important are usually the least demanding. So often people that are so important in our life and events that are so important in our life rarely are the ones that scream out and demand attention. It's so easy to pay attention to the ones that are always demanding our time, our energy, distracting us from things that are really important. So occasionally withdraw yourself from the racetrack pace of life and look around to see who or what genuinely deserves your time and attention. Luke 9:25 says, "What is a man profited if he gains the whole world and loses or forfeits his own soul or his own family?" Spend your focus and energy capturing moments as they happen rather than trying to recapture them, being motivated by regret. So many people try to parent from the future after they have raised their children, and they look back in retrospect and they grieve and they mourn. So why not avoid all those things that you can't really change anyway, and take time now to create a deliberate plan to become involved in the moment, to become a good parent, to become a good partner in a relationship, and just decide today, right now, as you listen to this, stop this CD. That's how important it is. Stop this CD and ask God to give you a clear-cut plan and help you define what's been going wrong and help you to see the things that you really need to see so that you can enjoy the rest of your days rather than have days full of regret and remorse about what could have been. Moving on to concept 6, it's better to prepare than repair relationships. You need to spend a lot more time on forethoughts than afterthoughts when it comes to relationships. Seek out the safety of a multitude of counselors and listen to them. Pay attention to red flags. I've often avoided paying attention to red flags, and I think that those can be your best ally sometimes in determining situations and relationships that need to either be addressed or avoided. Pay attention to red flags. Go slow when entering relationships. It's easier to get into relationships than it is to get out. You know, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And I always used to hear that haste makes waste. When you get in a hurry, you do things, you overlook things, you forget things, and then almost invariably you have to go back and make up for something that you forgot, that you overlooked, or that you didn't plan for because you moved into something hastily. So much more should we pay attention to our decisions and actions when it comes to entering relationships. And my job was to prepare the Danish pastry dough for baking. And what I didn't realize at that point in time, because nobody had ever told me, they just kind of showed me how to do the job, that what the butter actually does is in the baking process, it helps hold the dough together. I don't understand how it all works, but it's very important to have the butter worked in through every inch of dough so that when it goes through the hot temperatures of the oven, it holds together. So after working there a few weeks, I thought, wouldn't it be good if I could get more work done in less time by skipping one of the steps? Now, they wanted you to take the dough 3 times and knead the butter into the dough. It was a huge machine. It wasn't by hand. It was a huge machine because these chunks of dough were like about 25 pounds apiece. It would have been impossible to knead that by hand. So you would take it, you'd put the butter in, you'd run it through the kneader one way, and you'd do the whole rack of pans that you had, and then you'd come back and you'd start over and you'd do it the other way. And just make sure that you stretch the dough out, that you folded it like you were supposed to, and the third time through was pretty much a guarantee that the dough would be fully saturated with the butter. And so I thought, wow, if I could eliminate one of these steps, I could save a lot of time and create for myself a lot of extra time to hang out with my friends since I was still in high school. And so I skipped one of the steps of the process, got through with my work, went home, went out with the friends, had a great time, and I came back to work the next day and I saw an unusual sight. Now, I've had a good time here today talking about 8 concepts that create change in relationships, part 2. And I'd just like to say this to you in closing. What you focus on will create and captivate your thoughts. Your thoughts will produce your habits, and your habits become your present and will create your future. Your best days are not behind, but ahead of you. The best songs are yet to be sung and played. The best books are yet to be penned. And the best relationships for you are waiting to be discovered and developed. The best is yet to come. God bless you. This is Michael McDermott. You can check out my books that I've written, other CDs that I have, music CDs. You're hearing the music on the intro and the outro here at keepingitreal.michaelmcdermott.com. keepingitreal.michaelmcdermott.com. Again, this is Michael McDermott, 8 Concepts That Create Change in Relationships, Part 2. I hope you have a great day. Be blessed.